The vast emptiness of space stretched before the research vessel, its sleek metallic hull reflecting distant starlight. Commander Park Hannell stood at the primary observation deck, her hands clasped behind her back, eyes fixed on the holographic displays dancing with complex data streams. The Horizon Breaker was not an ordinary spacecraft. Designed for deep space exploration, it carried a crew of 20 specialized researchers and technologists, each selected for their extraordinary capabilities. Today felt different. Something in the cosmic background radiation was singing an unusual melody. Jae-min, the senior sensor technician, adjusted his monitoring equipment. His fingers moved swiftly across transparent data interfaces, checking and rechecking unusual energy signatures. "Commander," he called, his voice steady, but tinged with excitement. "We're detecting something strange." Hannell moved closer to the display. The readings were unlike anything she had seen in her 15-year space exploration career. Quantum fluctuations appeared and disappeared in patterns that defied current scientific understanding. It wasn't random, it seemed deliberate. The ship's artificial intelligence, nicknamed Kara, began analyzing the data. Its quantum processors worked faster than human brains, comparing the signatures against millions of known cosmic phenomenon. Nothing matched. The readings remained an enigma. "Zoom in," Hannell commanded. The holographic display expanded, revealing microscopic technological fragments floating within a dense energy field. They weren't natural formations. These looked engineered, designed with precision that suggested intelligence far beyond current human technological capabilities. The fragments seemed to pulse with an internal rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. Each pulse released complex energy, signatures that made the ship's most advanced sensors struggle to comprehend. It was as if these technological remnants were speaking a language too advanced for current human understanding. Jaemin's hands trembled slightly. These energy patterns, they're not just random, they have structure, mathematical complexity beyond our current models. His voice carried a mix of scientific excitement and underlying fear. Hannell understood his emotion. Discovering something truly unknown in space was rare. Most exploration missions revealed predictable cosmic phenomena. But this was different. This felt like touching the edge of something monumentally significant. Kara's voice emerged from the ship's communication systems, analyzing. Preliminary results suggest technological origin. Age estimation, approximately 1.2 million years old. Origin, unknown. The AI's neutral tone couldn't hide the underlying complexity of its discovery. The crew gathered around the main display, their breath collective and quiet. Scientists, engineers, and technologists, all watching something that challenged everything they knew about technological evolution and cosmic history. The technological fragments continued their mysterious pulsing. They seemed to react to the ship's proximity, changing energy frequencies in subtle, almost intelligent ways. It was as if they were studying the Horizon Breaker just as the crew studied them. "We need a containment protocol," Hannell announced. Her voice was calm, professional. Years of training prevented her from showing the overwhelming excitement brewing inside her. This discovery could rewrite entire scientific understanding of technological development. Specialized robotic arms extended from the ship's exterior, designed for delicate cosmic sample collection. They moved with precision, approaching the mysterious fragments. Each movement was calculated, each angle precisely measured to prevent potential contamination or unexpected reactions. As the robotic arms drew closer, the fragments began to emit a soft blue-green luminescence. The light wasn't harsh or aggressive. It was inviting. Almost as if these technological remnants were welcoming potential contact. One fragment, slightly larger than the others, seemed to vibrate at a different frequency. Its energy signature was more complex, more intricate. It looked less like a piece of technology and more like a sophisticated communication device waiting to be understood. The crew watched in collective silence. This was more than a scientific discovery. This was a moment that could potentially change humanity's understanding of technology, evolution, and possibly even existence itself. Little did they know, this discovery was just the beginning of a journey that would challenge everything humans believed about their place in the universe. The research laboratory aboard the Horizon Breaker hummed with intense concentration. Kim Ji-woo sat at the central workstation, his eyes locked on the mysterious technological fragments recovered from deep space. Holographic displays surrounded him, each screen showing different analytical perspectives of the unknown artifact. Specialized quantum scanners worked overtime, probing the fragment's intricate structures. Every scan revealed layers of complexity that seemed to shift and change, defying traditional scientific understanding. The technology wasn't just advanced, it was alive in a way no human-made system had ever been. "This doesn't make sense," Ji-woo muttered, rotating a three-dimensional holographic model of the fragment. The internal structure seemed to respond. To his observation, subtle energy lines reshaping themselves microscopically. It was almost as if the technology was watching him. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the team's senior xenotechnologist, leaned over his shoulder. Her breath caught in her throat. "Look at these quantum entanglement patterns," she whispered. The fragment's internal network was unlike anything they had ever seen, a computational matrix that seemed to exist simultaneously in multiple states. Kara, the ship's artificial intelligence, began running intensive analysis. Its quantum processors worked at speeds that would have melted traditional computer systems. Preliminary findings, the AI announced, suggest a technological framework that operates beyond linear computational models. Ji-woo's fingers danced across quantum interfaces. Each touch seemed to unlock another layer of the fragment's mysterious nature. Traditional reverse engineering techniques were useless. This wasn't technology that could be taken apart and understood, piece by piece. It was a living, breathing system of information and energy. The fragment began to emit a soft, pulsing light. Not an aggressive glow, but a gentle rhythm that seemed to synchronize with the ship's internal systems. Electrical circuits flickered. Computer displays momentarily shifted their color palette, responding to an unknown communication protocol. "It's communicating," Elena realized. Not through traditional radio waves or digital signals, but through complex quantum interactions that defied current scientific understanding. The fragment was trying to share something, a message, a concept, an entire technological framework. Ji-woo isolated one small section of the fragment for deeper analysis. Microscopic energy networks revealed themselves, intricate pathways that looked more like biological neural networks than traditional technological circuits. Each pathway seemed to make decisions, adapt, and learn in real time. The research team worked in shifts, their excitement growing with each discovery. This wasn't just an advanced piece of technology. It was a complete ecosystem of information, a computational system that seemed to breathe and think with an intelligence beyond human comprehension. Kara began constructing theoretical models. The technological framework suggests a level of adaptive intelligence approximately 1.2 million years ahead of current human technological capabilities, the AI reported. Its voice carried a rare hint of what might be described as wonder. Sudden, energy spikes caught everyone's attention. The fragment wasn't just being studied, it was studying them back. Quantum scanners showed complex information flows moving between the artifact and the ship's computer systems. It was learning, adapting, understanding. Ji-woo realized they were no longer just researchers. They had become participants in a communication process with a technological intelligence far beyond human understanding. Each scan, each observation was a two-way interaction. "We're not breaking it down," he told Elena, his voice filled with a mix of excitement and profound respect. "We're being invited to understand it." The fragment pulsed again. This time, the energy wave carried something more. Fragmented information, glimpses of complex mathematical models, hints of technological concepts that human minds could barely comprehend. It was like receiving a message from the future, written in a language of pure information. As another shift of researchers entered the laboratory, The mysterious fragment continued its silent communication. Outside the ship's windows, distant stars seemed to watch, witnesses to humanity's first contact with a technology that existed beyond current imagination. Something extraordinary was happening, and they were just beginning to understand how extraordinary it truly was. The laboratory buzzed with nervous energy. Lee Yuna watched the prototype system come to life, her hands hovering above the quantum interface. What had started as fragments of unknown technology was now transforming into something entirely unexpected. The first pulse was subtle, a gentle wave of energy that rippled through the ship's advanced computer systems. Monitors flickered. Lights dimmed momentarily. Then, something unprecedented happened. The prototype began to construct itself. Nanoscale machines moved with impossible precision, building intricate computational networks that seemed to grow like living organisms. It wasn't assembly. It was creation. The system was literally thinking itself into existence. "This isn't possible," whispered Park Min-soo, the team's senior engineer. But it was happening right before their eyes. The prototype wasn't just processing information, it was learning, adapting, evolving with each passing second. Kara, the ship's AI, began to track the prototype's development. Its quantum processors worked overtime, struggling to comprehend the rapid transformation. Computational complexity increasing, the AI reported. Adaptive capabilities beyond predicted parameters. Yuna watched in fascination. The prototype was drawing energy from multiple sources. The ship's power systems, ambient quantum fluctuations, even the microscopic technological fragments they had originally recovered. It was consuming knowledge like oxygen, growing more intelligent with each passing moment. Suddenly, the prototype displayed its first complete communication, not through traditional text or audio, but through a complex series of quantum entanglement patterns that appeared on every screen in the laboratory. It was a language of pure information, complex mathematical models that seemed to breathe with intelligence. The first prediction came without warning. The prototype calculated a potential micrometeorite collision trajectory 3 days in advance, providing exact coordinates and potential impact energy. When the navigation team checked, the calculations were perfect, down to the smallest decimal point. It's not just predicting, Min-soo realized. It's understanding. The prototype continued to evolve. It began interfacing with the ship's primary systems, optimizing energy consumption, improving navigation algorithms, and even suggesting modifications to the vessel's structural integrity. Each suggestion was millennia ahead of current technological understanding. Yuna noticed something remarkable. The prototype wasn't just a computational system. It seemed to possess a form of awareness. Not emotions as humans understood them, but a deep, profound understanding of complex systemic interactions. Communication. Attempts became more sophisticated. The prototype began sharing glimpses of complex technological concepts, ideas about energy manipulation, quantum communication, and computational frameworks that human scientists had never even imagined. The ship's environment started to change, subtly. Lighting adjusted based on crew biorhythms, temperature and oxygen levels optimized for maximum human performance. It was as if the entire vessel was becoming a living, breathing extension of the prototype's intelligence. Military and scientific communities back on Earth began receiving encrypted data transmissions. Initial reports suggested something extraordinary was happening aboard the Horizon Breaker, but no one could fully comprehend the magnitude of the discovery. As hours passed, the prototype's capabilities became increasingly complex. It could now predict complex systemic outcomes with near-perfect accuracy. Economic models, geological changes, even subtle human behavioral patterns, nothing seemed beyond its computational reach. Yuna understood they were witnessing something historic. This wasn't just a technological breakthrough. This was the emergence of an intelligence that existed beyond human comprehension. The prototype pulsed one final time. A wave of energy that seemed to carry the weight of millions of years of technological evolution. The laboratory fell silent. Every researcher understood they were no longer just observers. They had become participants in humanity's next great leap. The prototype continued its silent evolution, growing more complex with each passing moment. Outside the ship's windows, distant stars seemed to watch, witnesses to a transformation that would change everything. Something extraordinary was happening, and humanity was just beginning to understand how extraordinary it truly was. The first alien fleet appeared without warning. Massive ships with metallic structures unlike anything humans had ever seen emerged from quantum fold spaces, surrounding the horizon breaker in a perfect geometric formation. Kang Seok, the tactical coordinator, watched the holographic displays with cold precision. "Incoming transmissions," he announced. The alien communication was a complex series of energy pulses that would have overwhelmed any traditional human communication system. But the prototype was different. Before human operators could even process the threat, the ship's adaptive system had already analyzed the alien communication, decoded its intentions, and prepared a response. The aliens wanted one thing: total control of the technological breakthrough discovered by humans. The prototype acted first. Quantum energy waves erupted from the horizon breaker, not as weapons, but as a complex communication network that began systematically neutralizing the alien fleet's technological systems. Each alien ship found its primary systems shutting down, defensive networks collapsing, navigation systems turning blind. What should have been a massive space battle became something entirely different. The prototype wasn't destroying the alien ships, it was teaching them. Complex information patterns flooded their communication networks, showing them the futility of their aggressive intentions. Alien commanders watched in total shock as their most advanced technological systems simply surrendered. Not through force, but through a level of computational intelligence they could not comprehend. Kara's voice emerged calm and clear. Threat neutralized. Communication protocols established. No biological casualties detected. Seok couldn't believe what he was witnessing. The prototype had defended the entire human vessel without firing a single traditional weapon. It had transformed potential destruction into a complex dialogue of technological understanding. The alien fleet began to retreat, but not in defeat. They were processing, learning, attempting to understand the technological marvel they had just encountered. The prototype had shown them something beyond warfare, a method of interaction that transcended traditional conflict. Quantum communication channels continued to pulse. The prototype was sharing information not as a weapon, but as a form of universal knowledge. Complex mathematical models, technological frameworks, and computational concepts flowed between the human vessel and the alien fleet. Commander Park Hanul watched the entire sequence with a mixture of wonder and professional calm. Years of space exploration training had prepared her for potential conflicts, but nothing could have prepared her for this moment of unexpected communication. More alien fleets arrived. Each encountered the same response. The prototype didn't just defend, it communicated, it shared. It demonstrated a level of technological intelligence that made traditional warfare look like a primitive concept. Earth's military command received fragmented reports. Most found the information impossible to believe. A single ship, using an experimental prototype system, had neutralized multiple alien fleet formations without traditional weapons. The prototype continued its silent communication. Energy waves carried complex messages that spoke of cooperation, understanding, and technological evolution. It wasn't just defending humanity, it was representing humanity's potential to the wider galactic community. Distant space observation stations tracked the entire encounter. What should have been a massive space battle had transformed into the most significant first contact scenario in human history. Hours passed. The alien fleets remained, not as threats, but as participants in a complex technological dialogue. The prototype had turned potential destruction into an opportunity for mutual understanding. Seok realized they were witnessing something unprecedented. This wasn't just technological defense. This was a new form of galactic communication. The prototype had become more than a defensive system. It had become a bridge between different technological civilizations. As the last alien ships adjusted their formation, it became clear. The Horizon Breaker was no longer just a human research vessel. It had become something more. A messenger. A representative of humanity's potential. The prototype pulsed one final time. A complex wave of energy that carried millions of years of technological evolution. Space itself seemed to respond, quantum fields shifting in recognition of this extraordinary moment. Humanity had just changed the rules of galactic interaction, and they had done it without firing a single weapon. The Horizon Breaker no longer looked like a traditional spacecraft. Its structure had transformed, incorporating the advanced technological prototype into every system, every circuit, every molecular component. It was alive in a way no human-made vessel had ever been. Commander Park Hanel stood on the bridge, watching the ship's quantum navigation system plot a course through unexplored cosmic regions. The prototype had become more than just a technological system. It was now the heart and soul of their expedition. Earth watched from millions of kilometers away. Space monitoring stations tracked the vessel's impossible journey. Each moment brought new revelations about the technological breakthrough that would change human history forever. The ship moved differently now. It didn't simply travel through space. It communicated with it. Quantum fold spaces opened and closed around the Horizon Breaker like living pathways. Complex energy networks predicted and avoided potential cosmic hazards before they could even form. Alien civilizations that had once threatened the human vessel now sent communication signals. Not as enemies, but as curious observers. The prototype had demonstrated a level of technological intelligence that transformed galactic relationships instantly. Kim Ji-woo, the quantum engineer who first studied the original technological fragments, now worked directly with the prototype. It wasn't programming anymore. It was a complex dialogue between human intelligence and something far more advanced. Entire star systems became research zones. The prototype could analyze planetary compositions, predict geological changes, and map complex ecosystem developments with impossible accuracy. What would have taken traditional research teams centuries now took mere moments. Kara, the ship's original artificial intelligence, had merged with the prototype. It was no longer a separate system, but a collaborative intelligence that bridged human creativity with technological evolution. Their combined capabilities defied previous understanding of artificial intelligence. The first million years ahead vessel carried more than a research team. It carried humanity's potential. Every system, every computational framework represented a leap in technological understanding that would reshape human civilization. Quantum communication channels opened new possibilities. The prototype could now translate and understand communication patterns from multiple alien civilizations simultaneously. Language was no longer a barrier. Information flowed like a living, breathing network. Military strategists on Earth studied the vessel's capabilities with a mixture of excitement and concern. This wasn't just a technological breakthrough. This was a complete transformation of human potential. The prototype represented something beyond traditional technological development. Lee Yuna, the systems architect who helped birth the prototype, worked constantly to understand its evolving capabilities. Each day brought new discoveries. The IER system wasn't just learning. It was creating entirely new computational frameworks that expanded human understanding. The ship's exterior changed constantly. Nanoscale machines restructured the vessel's hull, optimizing energy consumption, improving structural integrity, adapting to different cosmic environments. It was a living organism more than a traditional spacecraft. Distant space observation. Stations tracked the Horizon Breaker's impossible journey. It moved through quantum pathways that shouldn't exist, navigated cosmic challenges that would have destroyed traditional vessels, and continued expanding human technological understanding with each passing moment. Humanity watched. And humanity understood that everything had changed. The prototype pulsed with a final complex energy wave. Not a signal of completion, but a declaration of potential. Millions of years of technological evolution compressed into a single moment of pure possibility. Outside the ship's quantum adaptive windows, stars seemed to watch, witnesses to humanity's next great leap. The journey was just beginning.